All right, folks, how are you this evening? It is Tuesday, March 12th, in where are we? Select Board Conference Room, Capital Expenditures Committee. And tonight, Doug Moglen is in, Mr. Fox is in, Alita Di Maria is here, and Joe Didi is here. Jeffrey Turcott is not, and Carl Steinhardt is not. Wonderful. Up first is fire. Sir, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good, come on up. Sleeping quarters for staff.
Okay.
What else? Canopy, over. Well, it doesn't matter.
Right.
That's just sleeping quarters. Great.
All right. So, last in 22, we expanded the fire department to include staffing 24/7. We had always had some form of staffing for the last 10 to 12 years that were in the building in one capacity or another around the clock. Um, like 6 years ago, we really started to have a lot more coverage and we're utilizing the bunk rooms that we had. Although our station was built for a lot of things for the future, bunk quarters was not one of them. So there was one designated space, not much bigger than this room. And then the second space, half the size of this, was what they refer to as the ladies' bunk. And then there's a men's bunk. Um, we had purchased some steel case office partitions to kind of divide one of the rooms into four sleeping areas. They have four twin beds in them with a small nightstand. And that's pretty much been our sleeping quarters. And for the time, it was adequate. It really was. People weren't there all the time. So our daytime staff left at 6, and then the second crew, the per diems would come in, and they didn't always all stay at the station. But if they did, it was one or two people. It was adequate staff, position. So when we went with 24s, which also coincided with COVID and everything else happening, where independent bunk rooms were, with clean air systems was really important to maintaining staff during the pandemic. We were very fortunate that when we did have people get sick, it was never all at once. So it was sporadic throughout the year. So it really didn't impact us as far as losing staffing was concerned, but it kind of shined a light on the concern that, you really need to think about these things. And people in the building and there's illness and again, we work in an industry where there are illnesses, so we could bring things home. So part of that was, to really start to think about what can we do to improve that overall. So there have been some ideas and some talk about, certain spaces within the building. Last year when we went to town meeting and to the hearing, the plan was and there was an appropriation made to do an estimate and to get some type of relative design that would be flexible in design, but also one that took the best property, the best square footage in the building. And because it's already in a building, it's pretty easy to work with a lot of things. So we looked at, the sprinkler system, the electrical system, the HVAC systems, the actual square footage systems, access in and out, and kind of moved around a whole bunch of different floor plans. And we ended up hiring Steve Jablonski, an architect who came in, did a great kind of physical study of the building, asked lots of questions, and came up with, three adequate designs. And pretty much most of them were in the same area where they are right now. One of them was utilizing a different office space, but that one it really wasn't what we wanted. Didn't really kind of give everybody a good feeling about this is the right project. So we looked at the last two designs and said, okay, one of these two is it. So we landed on one that takes that men's bunk room, quarters, it actually puts that in half and then adds two more rooms in a space that used to be the gym in the building, is what it was originally designed for. It's been used as the officer space right now, but with everybody having the capability to work from home, there's really no need to have that office space. So it's a relatively easy space to move into. The project itself, when I first did the estimate on it, and again, I've been out of the trades for a long time, and I'm shocked by how expensive things are, but came up with what I thought was a fair, reasonable $125 a square foot price for renovation, based on kind of using some of that same space, but not really having a final design on it. And it came in high, but everybody said you got to really be careful on this. It's going to be a little higher than you think, only because of the amount of subcontractor work that's involved in it. So that's why we got Steve involved. He then took that project once we landed on the design, put it out to an estimator, and he said, I'm going to tell you, this estimator typically comes in high okay, on municipal projects, but when he's doing private stuff, he's spot on. And he said, so just be mindful of that, you know. And basically, a lot of it has to do with the contingencies that are built into that plan. So we got the plan back based, you know, the estimate based on the plan, and it all looked good, you know. Parts of it seemed a little high to me, but overall, I was like, okay. And if you take the contingencies out of it, it's not that bad of a project. It's still coming in at about $250,000. So part of that, where that project gets expensive, is in the file subs. So the general contractor in a project that's over a certain amount of dollars has to put the subcontractor bids out, and he has to take whoever the lowest bidder is and things like that. So that's why the contingencies are there, and keep it fair, keep it reasonable. And that was a little bit of a shell shock to me that they were, you know, that risky, if you would, but also it's part of how the process is done. So in the end, yes, it looks like a very steep price tag. Can we get it done for less? I really think we could. Okay. And it's utilizing that one space. That one space is the most practical. It has the least amount of impact on the building. It allows us almost to use some of the space during the renovations and then just kind of move things in. But it included, and again, there are some creature comforts. When you're in the firehouse, they call it the firehouse for a reason, right? Our staff are there 24/7. It's a long day. There's not a lot of places for them to pretty much have some downtime. And in our industry, it can be a very stressful job. You need some downtime. You need some place to go to connect, to kind of just unwind, you know, a place to kick your boots off, if you would. We have a day room, but there's traffic through that all day long, you know, and even at 10 o'clock at night, there's still traffic coming and going, and the calls go off. And so it's a busy place. So there's really not. So the quarters have kind of been, you know, kind of like a sanctuary, if you would. So we figured, all right, we're going to make it as nice as we can. But you know, you don't want to live there. It's not your house, you know. So it takes on an appearance of a college dorm room, is the best way to look at it. So it's a single dorm room. It's got a wardrobe in it. It's got a small under bed storage. Those are permanent fixtures that are in the rooms. It would have Wi-Fi throughout the building, so it has independent heating and ventilation controls. And again, some of that's just trying to for the air exchange and things
Those
like
would
that.
actually work.
They would, yes. We've been promised that those would work because a big part of that is,
No, it just,
yeah,
it's been helpful.
right. It's been a problem and
Yeah.
it's still a project, but it's getting there.
Yeah.
The second part of this is we've incorporated through a grant, through the 911 grants with the dispatch merger, what they call a station alerting system. So station alerting means that when a tone goes off, it's a quiet wake for people. So instead of this god awful, you know, pager noise forcing you out of bed, it's a quiet wake. Some dim red lights come on, there's a soft tone, it crescendos up, there's a message board of what's going on. And one would think, oh, that's pretty neat, really cool technology. How bad can it be? But they're pricey systems because they're born off of this one control module, and it can do 1,001 things. Even though we only need to do 3 things, there's only one version that's out there. So it's by Honeywell. They make a great system. $30,000 of the project would be the difference against the grant to pay for that station wake, the station alerting. So you can do it so that it alerts the whole building, the lights in the apparatus bay comes on, the apparatus door goes up if you want. It does a lot of things. So you can build on that system as time goes on. So 30,000 of that's part of the price tag of that project, and then the other 30,000 is with the grant, which we've just asked for extensions, and they're fine with that. So when this project happens, it's something we can fold in. So the bunk rooms would also take on non-gender. Right now, we have ladies' bunks and men's bunks, and as our department grows and fluctuates, you know, the reality is we could have, you know, 4 female firefighters, and so it's not right to say, well, we only have 2 female bunks, you know. So most fire stations built today are just unisex. There'll be divisional bathrooms in rest area, you know, restrooms and things like that, but the bunk spaces are generally, you know, in one area. Again, very similar to college campuses now. So that's kind of what we're looking at. The the project itself, I figured it would probably take about 6 to 9 weeks to really get it to where we need it to be with finished interiors and everything else. And given the amount of subcontractors that are involved, and as Doug, you know, you're going through a project, nothing moves on time. You know, on time and on budget's a distant memory in most construction projects. So it's unfortunate.
At least you don't need electrical switch gear.
Yeah, right.
That
You know,
tends to
and see,
right
that's
now.
the one advantage we have. We have this space already, so we can do a lot with it. It's indoors, so you're not going to be impacted by weather and all these other things. So I think once we had a fixed cost, it would be very accurate as to what the cost of the project would be. Yeah. So that's a project in a nutshell. It's time as the department has grown. And we have, people in the building literally 24/7. And, they're there for 24 hours, then they have the 48 off, and then they're back for another 24. And the schedule works. The employees seem to like it. It's just sometimes it's a demand. If you're very, very busy and there's two people on, you're doing all the calls and you get 2 hours. You want to be able to do that in a place that's comfortable. And right now our quarters they're not comfortable. If the other person snores, you're there with them. So yeah. 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 And it's a move, the traditional firehouse used to be one big space, and that's what this was built on.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out, no problem. And you realize that sleep deprivation and trying to get that rest and even that soft wake at night, it really does make a huge difference. Lots of studies on just the heart safety of it all and everything else that goes into a good, well-designed fire station.
I think you also have to appreciate the forethought of whoever laid out the fire station in the first place.
Absolutely.
This mission wasn't really in their vision, but you have enough room that we're not glomming a building onto the building to do this, right? Or going up or going out, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that there's the room in the facility to add this is
right. This is part of the space used to be the old workout gym, right by the conference room, and a lot of those spaces have changed. But we have adequate space in the mezzanine for a great workout facility. So this would just kind of be, bringing that whole comfort creatures home. Yeah.
Any questions?
Yeah, this looks like it's gonna take us into the future.
Yeah.
So like Doug says, we don't have to look forward to building another fire station in the near future or adding on.
And if anyone would like to make a side wager about the HVAC, I'll take the wager now. Any municipal project. Well, almost any project, any municipal project that the HVAC actually works is a red herring. There are none.
It really is.
They're always designed by the low bidder and built by the low bidder, and then they don't work.
When we did the renovation when I was in South Hadley Fire District 2, it was amazing how over the top all the architects and the designers and the engineers were. And I finally said, whoa, whoa, whoa. And again, I had only been out of construction for a little bit back then, so I knew what I was talking about. I said, you have a boiler downstairs that's 20 years old. It's a workhorse. Just let it do its thing and let it heat the apparatus bay. Oh, no. They had air conditioning in the apparatus bay. I'm like, think about that, you guys. Those doors are open all the time. You're going to air condition that space? Well, the doors would need to be closed. I'm like, that's not a firehouse. The doors are open. In the summertime, the doors are open. It's part of that community invite into the station. And like, I don't know. So anyway, that system was never right. We had people literally had gone up and put cardboard over the vents in their offices and taped it onto the ceilings. And one guy went upstairs and actually shut off the intake air because it was cold air was coming in the winter times. It is blowing down into the building. It was just, so they finally realized that it was built too big for the building. Oh, really? And then the architect blamed the engineer blamed the architect, and then they blamed the designer, and the designer blamed the installer. And
in the end, the town ends up spending 50, 60, $100 million to try to fix it. And we just went through it here. This one was rebuilt a couple times in this building from when the construction was done. We just spent another almost $1 million doing it again. And so far, knock wood, it seems to be working well, but we'll see. But the firehouse is a great example. Police department's a great example of they just don't. They either overkill it and you have too much of something, which is just as bad as not enough, or it's not enough, and then you can't. Anyway, so I'll take the wager whenever anyone wants to put that down. Okay.
So that's a project. Specific questions.
No, I think you did a good job.
Thank you. And again, it has longevity to it. That's the best thing. Flip out the mattresses once in a while, everybody's happy. Change the light bulbs, light colors. Paint the walls different color. It's all good. Yeah. All right.
Mattresses are a lot less expensive. Is there any part of that our skilled town employees could do the work?
No.
That's just
Never
contract
works.
basis.
It never works. Great intentions, but it just never works.
Yeah.
Even have the walls painted, just get it all done. You don't end up saving anything except you get hurt feelings and or and then if there's town people and contractor people, they're going to do this at each other. When you have a GC, he's your guy. We'll have a clerk of the works that's going to oversee it. I'm sure.
And again, what project this size, it kind of would take them away from everything else they do. And with the urgency of, let's get it done type of thing, it's not a project you want lingering for a year. So, yeah, because we talked about that, is there anything we can do in-house? And there's also the bid process, and I think this, because it's over 300,000 now, on the estimate would click over into the bid process as well for RFPs and all of that, so.
Yeah, unfortunately.
If there's like 2 partitions, I'd say yeah, but there's so much more involved, and.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
All right, well, thank you, sir.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Chief.
Have a great night. Thank you for the eggs.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
All right, so next up is new business. You guys all have it from Tri-County. This is to do with the cemetery, and they're going round and round with equipment. And it looks like that she got a quote from Tri-County for around 43. She did have another one, what was it?
Directly from Bobcat for 65.
For 65,000.
But, so Bobcat has a lease option, Tri-County is purchase.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Were they gonna bring out one to demonstrate or?
Oh, absolutely, he would, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that,
I think-
I just told her that.
I absolutely,
Yeah.
bring it out, do a demo,
Is there
you
a,
know,
is there a piece missing of this?
What are you looking for?
the Bobcat one.
The second one? There's 2 Wacker Newson models, or is that? Yeah. I'm reading this quickly because I just saw it, but following excavators, the one's $43,000.
Oh, yeah, good
And
point.
then there's one below it, that's a EZ26 instead of the
The back page.
EZ20.
We don't have that.
Oh, we didn't get the one with the numbers on.
What's the number on
How about
that?
just give us the number?
Yes, 50,000
Okay.
for the other. And then there's a third example for 65.
Oh,
Oh, we didn't get that one at all.
Yeah,
What model's that?
that's gonna be the Edison E3606.
And that's how much?
That will be 65 too.
65,
200,
32 or 65 as
65,000.
well, okay.
$286.
The one you won't be getting.
The number 3. Number 2 was $50,760.
Okay.
Oh, so here's the model.
The EZ20 track excavator.
And the other one, what's
The
3606.
17 horsepower.
That one's,
Three, but all the same engine,
36.
3-cylinder.
no, they're different. First and the second one are different.
So like ETs.
The different horsepower, and the horsepower are different.
Look at the wrong one, 26.
20, 17.2, 19.6, and 24.5.
Right.
Interesting.
It is.
Amazing that they rate them so closely. Jesus.
Yeah.
How many of these do they make? 3 miles an hour.
Yeah, but you don't care about any of that.
That 36 is 12 inches. The track width is 12 inches. These are 9.8. Well, you have to know the total width.
It sounds like a field trip.
Mm.
Because the nice part is they're always digging on the level surface. Not digging on a foundation on the side of a mountain.
Good idea.
You know what I mean? You're on a flat cemetery.
Now we are,
Now we are.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's all they got left is flat.
Yeah.
And just digging, so the horsepower, who cares,
But yeah.
Yeah.
Not,
That's why I'm saying even the little one. You always get the middle one, right? You don't get the lowest one, you don't get the highest one, you get the middle one.
Yeah. But they should bring out a demo and.
Oh, yeah.
They can do a fake, grade.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'd have to look. the second one, the $50,000 one, the 2601.
Yeah.
Sorry, the EZ26. That one has AC and a radio.
Yeah.
Weird that they don't.
24-inch digging bucket, so 24-inch, the middle one's a 24-inch digging bucket. The first one's a 20 digging bucket, 20-inch.
How wide is a typical grave?
No, it's gotta be what,
Yeah, I know, yeah, but,
4 foot?
well, I know I know that
Gaskets aren't this big.
No, right, you're right.
But you gotta get
at
the
the rate
vault
we're
in.
going.
You gotta get the
The
vault in.
vault's probably this
Right.
big.
Lisa, how wide is a grave?
It's 4 feet.
Thank you.
With the vault?
Yeah, because a casket fits through a door, more or less.
Yeah, but the vault is, you know.
Yeah, you gotta put the vault, and the
Yeah,
casket goes
yeah.
in the vault, but the grave is 4 feet wide.
What's that?
What's
The grave is
The
4
vault-
feet
the
wide.
vault.
The grave is 4 feet wide.
Oh,
But-
with the
So the
vault.
vault goes in that.
Oh,
The
okay.
vault is probably like 3 something,
And how
Oh,
long?
Yeah,
8 feet.
4 by 8 by 6.
How
And
deep?
It goes down 6.
6.
thank you.
That one we know.
Well, you're from Jersey, of course you know.
No, they're shallower there.
The toxic
Water
waste.
table.
The toxic waste
Bubble it up.
does the work, right?
Usually gotta get out of there in a hurry.
Yeah, so 19 horse for the middle one. And a dozer blade. I'm dying to find out about the long dipper stick, what the heck that is.
Hmm?
The long dipper stick, the boom and dipper, the long dipper stick, it's got the thumb mounting bracket. Mechanical quick coupler, that's one, we're not gonna change that anyways. Split window.
I think that's like a feature of this thing because
I
they're,
think
they
it's
all
the
say,
arm.
they
It's
say,
the
but they
length of
say
the arm.
transport length, long dipper stick.
Yeah,
Do some of these have a second one on a shorter one or a different one? I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. I don't know, but that's what that is. You're right. That's the scooping capabilities.
That must be the technical name for the,
Yeah, the dipper stick. Yeah.
That's a good technical name.
Auxiliary hydraulics, both directions. Flat face coupler and dipper, control pattern changeover valve. The rear counterweight, drive signal, and 24-inch bucket. 50,700 mass state contract. But 50,700 is still better than 6570.
Mhm.
and does she need do they need a trailer? And they're
No.
gonna use a tracked one or a wheeled one? Didn't we talk about
The
this last
track.
time?
We did.
And
The wheel's the way to go, but you're not gonna find those. You found it was brand new, that was just out with that other version.
because they had
The
one,
track one,
It is a
right?
track one, yeah.
Yeah,
because they have one, a picture in here with the wheels.
but you were concerned the wheels would do more damage to the groundwork,
She
correct?
was concerned the track
The
would.
track would.
Oh, the track would, okay.
But we have these metal
Mats.
mats,
Hmm.
they're real thick, and we can lay them down if we have to.
Okay.
It's gonna take longer than digging a hole.
Work is work. Whatever works, get it done, work.
I'd still have them come out and dig a fake grave for you.
Yeah,
Oh, we're
I'm not
gonna-
falling for that. I'm not coming to that town.
you sure?
I'm not falling for that trick again.
Well, Mr. Belpon is no longer with us.
That's true. One of the few times I told the town hall where I was.
Have to be heated and that. type of-
Oh, it is, it is.
Oh, it is. No,
Heat,
no.
AC.
Put a drainage
Right.
structure in off of South
Well,
Long Yard.
I'll
I need to come
But
see it
the radio
myself.
was, they would have a radio.
Sure I will.
For, it would connect with the DPW. In
Right.
case he, let's say he flipped over.
Oh,
and
yeah, yeah.
Went in the hole, whatever, he has to have, the radio is important,
Yes,
so that we can contact for
but
help.
it also has an AM, FM, MP3, USB, Bluetooth,
And air conditioning.
and air conditioning, split front
But
window.
it's more heat,
But there'll be a town radio, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we're
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
get
yeah.
that part.
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
I fall and I can't get up, yeah.
Mhm.
The channel 15 on it?
It's the only channel we'll get.
Yeah.
The guy would wanna fall into a hole.
Okay.
Oh, my.
All right. That's all I see for new business, so we go right into capital expenditures. What do we have minutes?
Yes.
Let's approve the minutes first. Need a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, Joe DDI.
Alita G. Maria, I.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Let's talk then.
All right, so we're good with minutes. All right, so next back is capital. The police department is up first. Request cruisers amount 109,109,500. That is for 2 cruisers, I believe.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All right, all those in favor? Joe DDI.
Alita G. Maria, I.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Let's talk then.
All right. We'll do the next 3 together if you want, because it's the normal one we do every year for these 3. Paving project, small scale, 50,000. These are all DPW Highway Division. The next one's construction, paving and infrastructure improvements, small scale projects, the amount of 50,000. And then Highway Division again, paving and infrastructure improvements, small scale projects, 30,800.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, Joe DDI.
Alita G. Maria, I.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Let's talk then.
Okay, so the next is pavement. We're at 4 million they're looking for. I don't know if you guys want to adjust that. I mean, we need paving, and last year was 1,500,000. By the time we
Yeah.
got done,
Mhm.
yeah,
We usually kind of, I think you gotta reduce it here, and then as we shake out the numbers, if we can
we never
increase
make it to
later.
the end, right? That's one of our last
So,
ones.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
literally,
I wouldn't make a motion for $4 million, but I probably wouldn't even make one for 3 or 2. I'd rather approve $1 million, and then when we're done reconciling the budgets, we'll see where we're at, and if we can add another $500,000 to it, or $1 million, whatever that number that comes out to be,
right?
that keeps the tax rate sane, then we could do it. So I defer to you as what kind of motion you're seeking, Mr. Chairman.
So I'd be looking for a motion for 1.5 million, 1.5. I think, like you said, and whatever we do here doesn't really matter in the end, because it's gonna be what numbers.
Agreed. But I
So-
know in the past, sometimes they just would, okay.
We got our free cash, and then we got whatever, so if
But
free
that,
cash
this
is
is
5,
for next year, so if free cash rolls, we roll some of that forward into
right,
current year, it's still gonna come out of this net number, so I'll give you the motion for 1.5 million.
Second.
all those in favor, Joe DDI.
Alita G. Maria, I.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Let's talk then.
Because even last year, by the time we totaled everything up, we had our number, but
Yeah.
it wasn't all one
Right,
package, like you
exactly.
said. We pulled from every which direction.
Exactly.
All right, supervisor truck. I guess I'm looking for a motion.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All right. All those in favor? I'm gonna go no on this.
Alita G. Maria, no.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Let's talk now.
All right. This failed. Next up, sewer division, grinder pump maintenance equipment. 60,000. In the years past, it's been 30. Do we any interest in changing that number, or do you want to vote for the number that it is?
I would recommend we change the number.
What are you thinking?
What was last year was 30.
It's been 30.
And I recognize that we've got some additional things that we're discussing in terms of ownership and everything, but I would recommend we recommend 40.
I'll second her motion.
All righty. All those in favor, Joe DDI.
Doug Mogul, aye. Oops, sorry.
Alita G. Maria, sorry. I
Let's
forgot.
talk that.
All righty.
I was sleeping on that one, Doug.
The refurbished well they were looking into.
Did we find out? Because that, I have noted that Randy last Saturday said that this one might
Just
come
go
off.
away.
They were waiting to hear back. I think they were in line from what Randy said at the end of the water commissioner meeting. I came in at the very end
Yeah.
and they caught me up briefly. but please don't hold my.
No, but Saturday
Yeah, they talked about it again, that everything went extremely well. I think they're gonna be okay. I don't know if this is not for the next one, right? For the other one?
This is for the one that's currently being refurbished, that the initial report showed that it was okay, but I'm hesitant until we get like the final report, so I would be more inclined to pay through and then give the update at the finance committee.
Right, so vote for it.
I'm
They
gonna,
can always take it out if he
Yeah,
doesn't.
agreed.
yeah,
Right.
so I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I'll second Alita's motion.
So all those in favor, Joe DDI.
Alita Di Maria, I.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Russ Fox, aye.
All right, mini excavator. Anyone entertain changing the number on that?
Yes, I think we just had a discussion.
We did. So 50,760 is the middle one?
Yep.
I'd say 55, because you know there's gonna be a tax.
Well, yes,
You're
there's
probably gonna
sales
leave it at
tax,
60
right.
grand. You're gonna
Oh,
leave
yeah,
it
yeah,
at
yeah,
60
yeah,
K.
yeah.
It's gonna be 60K by the time you're done. They're gonna need a trailer or some other
They're not
thing.
gonna need a trailer.
Well, you know what I mean,
I
whatever.
do. What was the number?
55,
You go 55?
yeah.
Okay, it's better than the 70.
Is that a motion?
Motion.
Second,
All right, all those in favor, Joe DDI.
Alita Di Maria, I.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Russ Fox, aye.
All right. And we want to be informed when they're coming to dig that hole.
Mr. Moglen volunteered. to
Yeah,
test
I'll
that
be
out.
in the back of the room.
All right, sleeping quarters for staff, $250,000, folks. We taught this a million different ways
Yeah,
this
This
Sunday.
needs to get done. I mean, this is part and parcel of, it's a mission that was started as we transition into ALS and a full-time fire department, and it's part of what comes with it. I mean, and municipal construction is municipal construction. Take whatever you think it's gonna be and triple it, right? We've just seen it with everything. So this is no different than that. I'm slightly exaggerating with triple, but you know what I mean?
No, we do.
If you wanted to hire a home contractor to do this type of work in a square rectangular piece that wasn't on town property, it would not be that, but
No.
it is what it is. That's the law.
Right.
So
What's our projected growth for the fire department? I believe they're asking for, we've got how many ambulance and how many fire they're
they,
asking for this year?
well, we have 2 ambulances now.
Yeah, or,
It's staffed.
yes,
Only one shift are we really staffed on 2 ambulances now. The projection is we're going to, whether it's this year, next year, 2 years, 3 years from now, we were gonna have fully staffed 2 ambulances. We'll have a 3rd ambulance as a spare, but it's really the staffing, and you're gonna have at least,
They're looking for 3.
at all times, you're gonna have at least 3 people in the station.
Yeah.
And so at night, you're gonna have at least 3, and you got storm coverage and some other times, so it's 3 to 4 people in the station at all times. And so you gotta plan ahead for the future, and that's what he's doing here.
how many rooms does this get us? How many dorms? I don't have.
I don't even
Well, it was-
recall off the top of my head.
6 or 8.
Right, you said be 4 and 4, right? So
Right.
wouldn't that be
Okay, I
8?
missed
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
I missed that,
so-
okay.
And I thought he said 300,000. No, did I?
So, yeah, you did hear right. It
All right.
came in around 300 grand and it, like, we're all intelligent for the most part.
Yeah.
And he's saying, look, it really is 250. The contingency
But
is huge because they don't know what electrical really is.
Okay,
Heating, right? Like,
I'm just,
and I felt bad when he says, well, they're gonna have their own switches that turn them on and off. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, that'll work for 10 minutes. But I think the idea though is that right now, I don't think that everybody, and I don't know this for a fact. I don't know that everybody has their own bunk, right? So, and as you expand the department, you want to give everybody their own space.
totally
So-
agree. I have no issues with this philosophically. I'm concerned with, just based on what I do for a living and what we do, is this number is going to be higher than we thought.
absolutely.
Something is, and just, you can't get electrical panels right now, there's a lot of stuff that you can't get. And if it's gonna take longer, it's gonna be more expensive. That's my only concern. I'm not opposed to the concept of this for the future of the town. I'm questioning that we go forward to the town with this as the amount, and it's going to be higher than that. I'm just throwing that out there.
I agree. I would go with the 300,000, I waited a year to get chips for a brand new car. You know?
You're making a motion for the
I'll
300
make a
grand?
motion.
Then I'll second the motion for the 300,000.
That includes the sleep system.
Yeah, well, that's part of it too. Don't forget that. Yeah, she's right. Thank you. Part of that 300,000 includes money that's allocated in a grant for the wake system.
That's not even in here. That was 30 grand in the grant.
I thought he said, and 30 and 30.
30 more from us.
He
The
said
six-
he said that included the sleep,
I think we're gonna be, and then what if there's, I think we're gonna
50
be,
grand for that thing, 30 is a grant and
But
30
in
is
that-
in this
yes,
price.
so
That's what I
it's
had,
not
yeah.
310, including it's not 310,
No.
250 and
No,
60?
I have that the sleep system 60 grand.
Right.
30 of it is in this number.
Yes.
And 30 of
is a
it's the grant.
All right, so we still have a motion and a second at 300.
Mhm.
All right, all those in favor? Joe DDI.
Alita Di Maria, I.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Let's talk that.
That's it.
And nobody wants to reconsider given that we have a fairly low, maybe it's something we cover out of free cash at the end of the year, but that supervisor truck at 13 years old with 150,000 miles on it. We can get it next year, but this has been last year was a bumper crop of fixed asset purchases.
It was, we
So-
bought a lot of stuff last year.
So there's a dearth of it this year.
And all I hear is a Freightliner we owned for 7 years that doesn't run. So, right, that's what I heard Saturday in the back of my head, and I think you're gonna see that come up quicker than,
That's why I'm looking to clear the books so that we're not faced with that again.
we're gonna be faced with both.
Well, I mean, the roll-off, they were talking in the back of the room at the end, they're like, oh, let's just get another roll-off truck. I'm like, whoa, wait a
Yeah,
minute.
no, trust me, I
Right.
was with you on the
Yeah.
front going, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna convince all three.
142,000 miles, I got a vehicle.
As do I, but
And you're
the
driving
duty
right around
cycle's
town.
different. Yeah, I guess. I hear you.
And it's not plowing.
It's not plowing.
It's a service,
It's
yeah,
just, you know,
yeah. And it may need a training eventually. but
yeah, it might need this and it might need that.
Yeah.
We got farm trucks that we keep for years.
I know.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And that's based, Doug, I know where you're coming from, but it's based on the fact that we know this is gonna be a lean year.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I just look at our roads. I mean, you know, we do a great job at trying to keep that rate low. But we're gonna get to the point where, and I don't know where that is, and I don't want to be the person, I'll gladly resign tomorrow. But you're hemorrhaging road issues, and you know, 1 million, 2 million doesn't do anything anymore. And I'll be honest, I never read this right. I would say we did 2 million in roads. No, roads and drainage. And like last year, what did we spend? Well, actually, Joey was in half.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know, which is fine, but so we're not putting 2 million into pavement.
No, well, you are, but you're not.
But you're not. Right.
But you are, because and I agree with Randy in this case where
We're doing
he's
it the
saying,
right
look,
way.
you gotta do it so it lasts 20 years.
And we are.
You don't just
But it's
spit
just,
tar on top
so
of
2
that.
million or 1.5 million last year, 1.4 million, whatever we ended up with, bought us 700 grand worth of pavement.
So the only way to fix the issue, because the state's never gonna help you,
No,
right? We're
right.
gonna get screwed on chapter 90 from the
Yeah,
eastern part of the
absolutely.
state forever. And rural roads is not gonna ever come in to help us.
No,
Sorry to be a pessimist. So the only way to do it is do what Suffield did 15 years ago. Bond $20 million,
right. It's scary.
which is
but
what
that's
you're
where we're
gonna
headed.
have to bond 20 million to catch up.
Yeah.
And that doesn't catch you up.
No.
That gets you in range of having
Right.
decent roads.
And that's 6 years worth of work because no one can bang it all out in a year
No,
anyway.
you wouldn't even want to, right? You
Right.
wouldn't be able to get around town.
Right.
But that's what you really have to do. And we've been bonding, we started this 6, 7, 8
Yep,
years ago
yep.
now, where I said, look, we're paying as we go on assets that have a 20-year life. And so we did start bonding for more roads.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's worked, but
It's
But the problem is you also have an inferior product now.
Oh,
The
absolutely.
asphalt,
No,
yeah.
it's not.
Look at the roads we did.
Yeah.
Are falling apart.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
They're just disintegrating. the asphalt is not the same asphalt that it was 30 years ago or 20 years ago. And so I don't think you're gonna get a 20-year life.
No, but but at least you were taking 10 or 15-year notes, which
Right.
reflect the
Right.
life of those bonds,
Right.
and then
That's-
as they retire, you go and do them
Right.
again.
Mhm.
But, and I think, we have a couple roads that are just awful offenders right now. I mean, obviously, the state 57's a disaster. That was I think that's the
But we
end.
own that.
Yeah, I know, it's ours. but
Yeah.
It's ours, but that one was done, we did that one on the, I wanna say it was done on the cheap.
It was.
I think we got a little bit bad advice. If that had been any other road but a major heavily traveled artery.
Yeah.
It probably would have been okay, but it was just too thin of a product to do what they wanted to do with the truck traffic. So now it's all coming up. So we're gonna that's gonna be, and that's a huge project, just even the time, the length, the details you're gonna need, the cost on that's would easily surpass whatever we just spent. I don't know, we're gonna get to it this year.
2 million.
It's not even on our list.
Right.
We'll have to look at it in the tour of the roads in the spring this year.
Yeah.
But probably need to talk about that as a collective group for next year and say, do you want to advance a larger bond project or see what other debt's coming off, but a larger bond project in order to finance the roads? Because you're not going to get it from, you're not going to get it from the state. Chapter 90 is not going to get quadrupled. They made a big deal at Mass Municipal that they doubled Chapter 90. Yeah, they gave us 2 years worth.
Yeah.
For the next 2 years. It was exactly the same amount.
Right.
But it was just political.
Yep.
Spitballing, right? I mean,
we can always increase the excise tax and,
Oh,
sure, they'll go
let's
over.
get the
everything
restaurant
like that.
tax too over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get that restaurant tax going.
well, I mean, that they gave you that option. I just don't, I've never had any appetite for increasing local taxes. That's just a way of increasing taxes and without the governor or legislature taking the heat for it and just
Right.
pushing it down to the local
Right.
level.
They're passing the
I
buck.
mean, this isn't even the right venue to discuss it, but to me, that's a non-starter from where I sit right now.
Yeah.
But, I laughed when you and I were standing against the wall, literally, when she's talking about it going, oh man, really? They
You
just
didn't-
made us the bad
You
guys.
didn't see too many people clapping or cheering or standing up.
Where I was,
Except
they were
from
all
some of the
clapping.
cities, right? They were all ecstatic
Yeah.
that they could double their meals tax or, increase
Yeah.
their meals tax and assess other taxes. I was like, really? No one takes any joy in that, but anyway. We done?
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
All those in favor, Joe DDI.
Alita G. Maria, I.
Doug Moglen, gladly.
let's talk.